Now I think you hear me. Welcome everyone. On session 3, my name is Monika, and for me it's an honor to be the part of this event. I live in a small village in West Pomerania in Poland. I'm a teacher in high school and also take part in Caritas Laudato Si workshops and events like a volunteer. I'm a founder of a volunteer and volunteer on or a free shop on ECO and involved youth and adults from local society. Today, we are invited to think for a while about living differently. We are going to see models and examples of transformation when young people make the difference. Feel free to ask some questions in chat. In my opinion, young people can inspire us by caring for the earth. They are very creative, they don't have long-term habits, they are open for new experiences and with hope look into the future. We know that everyone should think about how our life choices have an impact on the environment. But some people often think that there are like a drop in the ocean and don't see a sense in their actions. In this session, we would like to show you that even a small local community, we can make a difference. Today, we are going to get to know the CITSI company documentary, The Future Lies with Youth. It's about ordinary youth from Germany, Switzerland, Kenya, Italy, Spain, and Portugal, open up about their engagement for climate justice, showing activism. More about this initiative say Sarah and Adrian. Adrian has been involved in CITSI initiatives since 2018. He lives in Galicia and is active in his local town. He takes part in the CITSI Laudato Si camp in UK in 2019. He inspiring for several reasons, but the main one is that he initiated a lot of activities in his city and strongly believes in global climate justice. Sarah is currently studying at the University of Bologna. She recently came back from Peru, where she spent 1 year as a volunteer. For several months, she was involved in a project supporting local fishing communities in their fight against oil companies. Next, I'm going to present you my project, which takes place in Poland. Inspired by Laudato Si by Pope Francis, I've taken part with workshops organized by Caritas Laudato Si in Poland, and with young people, we created a free shop. We are trying to show people how to take care of our planet and reuse things. At last but not least, we are going to listen about ethical wardrobe. The Istituto Universitario Salesiano di Venezia e Verona is promoting a 3-year campaign called Green Dream, dedicated to ecological awareness and transformative practices, inspired by the encyclical Laudato Si. The idea of an ecological closet came out of this campaign. An exhibit of fabric, shoes, and accessories produced by companies who want to reserve current strength boats in the production process and the sales chain, promoting as fair solidarity and sustainable style. Sorry for my English, I don't use it every day. So it's a little bit stressful for me, and sorry for that, but I think that you'll understand some of this. More of this, we are going to hear from Anna Sferluca, a clinical psychology student at the Matters course at the Salesian University Institute in Venice, member of the Green Team group of the same university, and participant in the delegation sent on an academic mission to Expo Dubai 2020. Now let's see the initiatives.
Es hält ja so jetzt auch.
In Lützerath, nur 50 Kilometer von Aachen, immer noch ein Bauer seinen Hof verlieren soll, damit RWE gestützt von der Landesregierung, immer noch Braunkohle fördern können.
Anche banalmente una mancanza di democrazia, di diritti.
El sector pesquero artesanal hoy estamos atravesando por una crisis que verdadera.
Eu quero ser indígena da minha terra. Quero ser indígena.
Planting trees is first response to local challenges, but also global challenges.
Ja, ich denke, also ich sehe mich selber nicht als Aktivist, sondern mehr einfach das Erlebnis schaffen.
Nós não podemos ganhar a natureza. Se não sei se é uma planta que nunca vira, se é algum tipo de fungo.
Jesteśmy w województwie zachodniopomorskim, w Sławoborzu, w centrum osiedla mieszkaniowego i dzisiaj pokażę Wam, czym jest OnEco.
Najmłodsi klienci OnEco, kiedy do nas przychodzą, to mówią, że to jest taki darmowy sklep, którego nigdzie nie ma i w którym oni mogą wziąć to, czego chcą, czego potrzebują. Zdarzają się u nas naprawdę rzeczy unikatowe, perełki dla dzieci w pierwszej klasie, dla dzieci szkolnych, przedszkolnych, topowe zabawki, bardzo dobre marki. A dla nas czym...
Yeah. Hi everyone, this is Giorgio. I work at CITSE and I'm coordinating the Change for the Planet Care for the People initiative. There were some logistical issues, but I think you understood that the first part was the trailer of the documentary, The Future Lies with Youth, while the second one was like a spoiler of your project. Indeed. So that today I'm really happy because we brought you in this virtual space. Our latest documentary, so The Future Lies with Youth. And as the event focused on intergenerational justice is one of the topics, I mean, we want to bring here our contribution. Due to a matter of time, we couldn't screen the whole documentary because it's 35 minutes, but I hope you enjoyed it, even though it was very short the trailer. In addition to the trailer, we also brought you some of the protagonists, Adrian and Sarah, who Monica introduced before. And just want to spend really these 30 seconds to contextualize a bit more the documentary. Indeed, The Future Lies with Youth is a result of 2 years of physical and virtual journey with the CITSE young supporters who were asking themselves, what does it mean to us to be climate activists? So 8 ordinary people, so not superheroes, not Hollywood stars yet, finally decided to share their daily commitment and engagement for our common home through different ways. So showing that everyone can play his or her role in this. So my invitation, I mean, is to, of course, connect to these young people and also to let you inspire by these personal stories of change and ecological conversion. I don't really want to spoil you about the documentary, but I mean, I hope, again, you enjoyed the trailer. And I will really just leave the space now to Adrian, so from Manos Unidas, Spain, and Sarah from Foxiv, who will be sharing a bit more about the stories. Just closing, saying that today for us is a very important day because today we have the documentary released in 7 languages. So thanks to the efforts of several young supporters and volunteers, this documentary can also be spread all over the world more easily. So Adrian, are you ready?
I think I am, yeah.
Great, floor is yours.
Well, I'm first to introduce a bit myself. They already said more or less, but I'm Adrian. I'm from Vigo, which is a
a small city in the northwest of Spain, and since 2018 I've been volunteering for Manos Unidas. And I don't know if you want, Giorgio, if you want me to talk more about the climate activist thing, or
yeah, maybe. Okay. Well, yeah, maybe really just a couple of minutes of what can people see in your story. What is your story of change? What can see? Because we haven't really watched the documentary, so people don't know.
All right.
So what can we?
You. So yeah, well, in the documentary, in my part of the documentary, I shared that story with a colleague of mine, and we talked about what's motivated us to be climate activists, and also we were talking about an activity, a sustainable camp we did in our region of Spain, which is called Galicia. Yeah, and we talked about a bit about that activity, which was kind of an adaptation from another sustainable camp we did at the national level, which was actually the reason we joined Manos Unidas in the first place. So I think that more or less sums it up.
Yeah, in the camp, like what did you do? I mean, because the story is a lot about you bringing like the concept of like climate change from a global perspective to a very local one. So to bring this concept in a easy, understandable language also for your peers and people living in Galicia, which maybe they are still associating climate change from something very far, only related to the Amazon forest or the global south. Is that true?
Yeah, I tend to for me, that part is kind of, I don't know, natural, but I guess sometimes it's not that obvious. And what we tried to do was to the people who participated in the camp, for them to see how climate change was already affecting them on a more local scale, and especially what they could do on their local communities and on their daily lives to help them fight this crisis. And the setting for the camp was also very important, because we did it on a ecological farm on a small village in Galicia, and so that was one of the ways they sell their products. Especially they work with schools and so on, but they also sell to in the nearest villages, and that was also a way of learning how to, an alternative way of life and of industry, let's say food industry, to the ones we're used to, and one more eco-friendly, let's say.
And also in the video, I really like the fact, you know, that you've been spending time like working the land and really like practicing, like putting in practice agroecology principles and like all other learnings. But like concluding.
Sorry, I don't know if you made a question or if I missed something.
Well, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
sorry for that, but what I really like about the camp and about your story is that also during the camp you managed to do some practical work, really to put like agroecology learnings into practice, so to have really young people get their hands dirty and reconnecting to the land, which are not very used. And just in conclusion, from my point of view, what I really liked of you and Ali, the other protagonist, is how you manage really to play this multiplier role that young people can have. So you lived a very good experience like in the UK the year before. You really like the format, having a Laudato Si camp, a camp on integral ecology, and you say, I want to replicate that in my homeland, in Galicia. And you took the full responsibility of it. I mean, you organize it like from scratch. So this for me is one of the big added value that also in the documentary is visible. Yeah, but then I mean there will be time for question at the end of the panel, and thanks Adrian for sharing a bit more about your story. Maybe we can switch to Sarah. Are you there, Sarah?
Yes, I'm here. Well, hi everyone.
Would you like to tell us, like in a couple of minutes, what can we see in your story?
Well, my story is basically on my experience in Peru, where I went 2 years ago to collaborate with a local NGO, which worked on socio-environmental conflicts. And what drove me to be there was actually the motivation and the questions that I had in myself about what my impact, my European impact, let's say, have in the world. So I'm originally from Italy, but I kind of describe myself as a citizens of the world. And I wanted to really see what were the impact of a certain economic model on others, other places and other people. And so that's basically my experience and what I bring back home with me. So this awareness of what there is on the other side of the world, and my, let's say, for me, being a climate activist is like that. So always asking me questions and really have the awareness that every action that I do has an impact.
Great. Thank you so much, Sarah. And I think that you and Adrian are both very humble in terms of you're both very humble, you and Adrian, in terms of also achievements and the impact you had thanks to your experience. So maybe I think we can have maybe some question again at the end to go through that, and don't hesitate also, like, for the public to use the chat for that. So, well, I think our time is over, unfortunately, but thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Now, I would like to introduce you to my project. It started 2 years ago. It calls On Eco, and it's a free shop. And more you will see at the video.
Jesteśmy w województwie zachodniopomorskim, w Sławoborzu, w centrum osiedla mieszkaniowego i dzisiaj pokażę Wam, czym jest On Eco.
Najmłodsi klienci On Eco, kiedy do nas przychodzą, to mówią, że to jest taki darmowy sklep, którego nigdzie nie ma i w którym oni mogą wziąć to, czego chcą, czego potrzebują. Zdarzają się u nas naprawdę rzeczy unikatowe, perełki dla dzieci w pierwszej klasie, dla dzieci szkolnych, przedszkolnych, topowe zabawki, bardzo dobre marki. A dla nas czym jest On Eco? To przede wszystkim miejsce, gdzie dzielimy się dobrem. Przede wszystkim dajemy swój czas i to chyba jest najpiękniejsze, co możemy zrobić, kiedy piszą do nas osoby albo przychodzą, które szukają konkretnej rzeczy, dzbanuszka od kompletu z Tułowic, który stłukł się x lat temu podczas ukochanej Wigilii, a babci, która dostała ten komplet na swój ślub, tego brakuje. Kiedy możemy napisać, tak, akurat mamy ten dzbanuszek, bardzo chętnie go oddamy w dobre ręce, tym sposobem dajemy mu drugie życie, to chyba jest dla nas najlepsza nagroda.
Jesteśmy w ulubionym miejscu naszej wolontariuszki, Kasi. Kasiu, dlaczego lubisz przychodzić do On Eco?
Mamy tu właśnie dużo książek, a ja bardzo lubię czytać książki, a nawet jak te książki są zniszczone, to tutaj możemy im dać drugie życie, bo przerabiamy je na papier z recyklingu. I mamy tu też bardzo dużo ciekawych pozycji, których tak właściwie nawet nie możemy czasami już dostać, bo są na przykład z PRL-u i innych dawnych lat.
Dlaczego lubię przychodzić do eko? Bo samo słowo eko kojarzy mi się pozytywnie. Można tutaj znaleźć coś dla siebie, można przynieść coś od siebie, co komuś się przyda, więc korzyść jest obopólna. Nie tylko dla pojedynczej osoby, ale też dla całego społeczeństwa, bo rodzi to w nas potrzebę ograniczania się z plastikiem, z wyrzucaniem rzeczy, które mogą się jeszcze komuś przydać, a więc korzyści są obopólne i my pomagamy wszystkim dookoła zrozumieć, że eko to coś dobrego.
Chłopaki, lubicie przychodzić do On Eko?
Tak,
A dlaczego?
bo są fajne zabawki.
Dlaczego Pani lubi przychodzić do On Eko?
Lubię przychodzić do Eneko, bo lubię, jak się nie niszczą rzeczy, jak ich się nie wyrzuca do śmieci, tylko się z nich korzysta. Jeżeli one są czyste, dobre i można je używać dalej, to po prostu nie zaśmiecajmy świata.
A propos motywacji, dlaczego tu jesteśmy, dlaczego przychodzimy, dlaczego działamy, dlaczego mamy mnóstwo pomysłów, u mnie to było tak, że w którymś momencie chyba doposażyłam swój salon i całe mieszkanie w rzeczy, których uważałam na tamten czas, że bardzo potrzebuję. Następnie przyszedł taki moment, gdzie musiałam się po prostu ich pozbyć, bo było ich za dużo. I On Eko był doskonałym miejscem, gdzie mogę te rzeczy oddać, te rzeczy kogoś cieszą. Wszystko poukładałam u siebie i zaczęłam układać tutaj. No i tak wrosłam, i tak zostałam. I mam nadzieję, że to będzie trwać i życzę Wam, żebyście takie miejsca zakładali, żebyście w nich bywali, rozmawiali ze sobą o tym, co jest ważne, o tym, co jest ekologiczne, bo to jest nasza przyszłość. Tyle.
Lubisz przychodzić do On Eko?
Tak,
A dlaczego?
bo fajne rzeczy są.
And a few words about this project. It's like being a volunteer of a free shop. It's not easy. All the time, I observe that for people, it's easy to leave things that they don't use anymore. But the problem is when they are going to take something that someone use it. Especially for living in a small community, when everybody knows you, it's a little shameful in common opinion. But luckily, since almost 2 years, I've seen that they are convinced in this project and invite friends to visit it. I could talk about On Eko for hours. It's obvious that we are like caring of our planet. We caring about relationships, but I just wanted to say that there is a few important things which surprised me. First, I discovered that in this place we are equal. It doesn't matter if you are rich or poor. Everyone can come to On Eko and take something for free. Second, by accident, I discovered the new idea of helping people in need. In general, when we want to help people, for example, give them clothes, we put all of these clothes to one bag and give to to people who are needed it. But everyone has a different style. Everyone has like different colors, for example, and I know that maybe it's not the most important thing, but I try to say that maybe we can give them a little dignity, because in On Eko they can come and choose what they like, what they want, not only take this what everybody gave them. And last, I must say that in this difficult time for Ukraine, free shops, which are in a few big cities in Poland, were the best way to help refugees to start a short or longer stay in my country. With a good system of organization, staff, volunteers, we can make things easier and better. As you can see, places like On Eko, free shops have a lot of advantages. For 2 years, we've inspired some groups of people who created places like this in their towns. I hope that you feel inspired too. And now we are going to get to know the last project. Then we have Anna, Ethical Wardrobe. Anna, are you here?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Hi. First of all, I would like to thank you for this opportunity. My name is Anna Sferruzza, and I'm currently attending the last year of my master's degree in clinical psychology at the Salesian University Institute of Venezia and Verona. The university is promoting a 3-year campaign called Green Dream, dedicated to ecological awareness and transformative practices, inspired by the encyclicals Laudato Si. The idea of an ethical wardrobe came out of this campaign, an exhibit of fabric, shoes, and accessories produced by companies who want to reverse current trends both in the production process and in the sales chain, promoting a fair, solidary, and sustainable style. The creator and manager of the Ethical Wardrobe exhibition is Francesca Bonotto, a professor of Use-Based Creation and Fashion Lab. In 2019, Francesca started the podcast Moda.com, produced by the university's Cube radio station. It focuses on the fashion industry's communication and publicity practices, driven by the need to report some of the ethical aspects of clothing and footwear. From the very first episode, Francesca began to highlight that profit was the first priority of the ready-to-wear industry. Not enough attention was being paid to the supply chain or the spiritual dimension that, in her experience, is always a fundamental part of the creative process. From the personal testimony of the by numerous guests on Moda.com came the idea of setting up an exhibit that would present a model closet as well as a series of panels devoid of clothing but filled with awareness. From socks that need no washing, for example, to clothing bearing labels written in Braille and raised patterns, to shoes produced by disadvantaged persons. The items on display are a tactile stimulus for critical thinking, thus creating a point of connection, a bridge with Laudato Si. As Father Nicola Giacopini, a Use-Based director, notes, you wouldn't think that fashion is that relevant to our common home, but in reality, everything is connected. Beauty, care for creation, the person, quality of work and workers' rights, society and the economy. Laudato Si has placed us before 2 important axes. The first for academic research, which allow us to delve into integral ecology, and the second to implement new styles of life, which is formative and educational in nature. Even in contrast to the throwaway culture, the exhibit's layout proposes the recycling and the reuse of clothing as a transformative practice. On display are also examples of products made with recycled textile. By having experienced to exhibit a first-hand, I can say I've been positively impressed by the interest and amusement of my peers. Many students, in fact, were enthusiastic seeing the pleasing aesthetics of the items on display, but slightly disappointed by the high costs. However, after our explanations regarding the fabrics and the quality of the material used, they understood the reason to pay more and the responsibility they are called to assume even though what they acquire. The way the exhibit was set up provided a tactile and experiential environment. We prefer to allow the visitors to have a live experience rather than just provide information, to be able to touch fabrics made to the blind or to see for yourself the quality of recycled materials helps people a lot in the decision-making process. We even had the opportunity to share with the visitors the pastoral perspective offered through the exhibit, and they were very fascinated by the topic and wished to discuss the gap between the vision contained in Laudato Si and what the consumer society instead proposes. Now let's take a look at this video, go into more detail about the ethical wardrobe. Thank you for your attention.
Armadio Etico nasce all'interno dell'Istituto Universitario Salesiano di Venezia e Verona e rappresenta un percorso di consapevolezza e conoscenza sulla moda etica e sostenibile. È un esempio di come un'altra moda fatta di persone, di attenzione, di rispetto verso il mondo, verso la pelle, verso comunque il creato è possibile.
L'Istituto Universitario Salesiano di Venezia e Verona è anzitutto un luogo accademico e un luogo di formazione e di educazione. Per questo proprio la Laudato Si ci ha offerto e ci ha messo davanti due assi importanti. Uno per la ricerca accademica ed è l'approfondimento dell'ecologia integrale, e l'altro formativo educativo che è l'implementazione di nuovi stili di vita. Messi assieme saranno i due grandi vettori del lavoro dei prossimi 3 anni.
La Laudato Si di Papa Francesco ci ha suggerito un percorso originale e anche decisivo, quello della moda etico-sostenibile. In genere non si pensa che la moda abbia un valore così importante per la casa comune e invece tutto è interconnesso. La bellezza, la tutela del creato, la persona, la qualità e i diritti dei lavoratori, la società e l'economia. Il percorso Armadio Etico è un modo che abbiamo individuato per entrare in dialogo con il mondo della moda, perché tutti siamo compartecipi e responsabili della crescita della casa comune.
Armadio Etico vuole educare i visitatori e gli studenti che partecipano e che vengono a vedere la mostra in 3 tempi. Il primo tempo è quello conoscitivo e quello informativo, perché dovremo acquistare una moda etica e sostenibile. Il secondo tempo è quello di presentazione di alcuni esempi e alcune scelte. Questa altra scelta possibile si concretizza in alcune collaborazioni e in alcune realtà e brand presenti. Il terzo tempo è la possibilità per i nostri visitatori di toccare con mano i tessuti e la qualità dei materiali proposti. Armadio Etico non è solo una mostra, ma ha l'obiettivo di sensibilizzare le persone che vengono a visitare, anche i nostri studenti, questo nostro spazio espositivo, con l'obiettivo di avvicinarli a delle pratiche, a degli stili di vita più sociali e più vicine ad una trasformazione anche etica.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Anna. Now let's go to the Q&A. Okay, to this part. I have one question for Adrian and Sarah. What motivated you to take part in the experience we saw on the video and which are on your documents?
Well, there are identified 2 main reasons. One is personal for me, and the other was the circumstances around it, let's say. And on a personal level, I really think, I really try to stick to this principle of thinking globally and acting locally. And so doing something like that was, I think, a very good way of trying to start forming a network of young people on a regional level that could try to do more concrete, more specific activities to the reality we lived on. And the other thing is that when we entered Manos Unidas, when Alicia and I entered Manos Unidas, the delegation of Santiago de Compostela was interested in having an activity with young people. They had this program for education in sustainable development and global citizenship, and they had activities for kids in schools and for teenagers in high schools. So they were trying to find a way to compel young adults, and we came to the conclusion that adapting that activity of a sustainable camp was a good idea to try and start this, to compel young people in our region.
Yes, maybe I partly already answered. So what drove me basically was this kind of curiosity and willingness to know more about something I felt really distant. So pollution, so exploitation of natural resources, and really see the impact of that on people. Because as a lucky European girl, sometimes it's difficult to picture that reality, and so that gave me a lot of awareness. And actually, I took home a big motivation to tell my story, and so to speak with other people about that. We wrote a book with Foxiv with a report on the land grabbing and all that. So it had we presented that on the to the Italian Senate. So it was kind of a big sound in a sense to put attention on one problem. So.
Okay, thank you. I think that we have on chat a link to the document. Yes, because there was a question for a link to the documentary.
Yeah, I think both Sarah and Adrian posted there the link to the English version and the one of the translated. It's still missing Spanish for IT issues we had, but it's going to be uploaded tonight.
And guys, I have one question for you. Why do we should see this documentary? It is the best because...
I would say because we are beautiful, but but then I would say just maybe to feel inspired, because not only for my story, but also for me, seeing other protagonists and other people, other young people really so involved locally in their own reality, trying to change things or at least understand them, and trying to put the Laudato Si teachings and values really in practice was a big, even a bigger inspiration, even if I already had a really impacting experience for myself. So really go and see it.
Thank you so much. I see one question from the chat. How difficult was to set up the shop on ECO, and did you have any support from the local authorities, or what is a project that Caritas Laudato Si had to do by themselves and only with volunteers? In Poland, we have some projects by Caritas Laudato Si, but on ECO isn't connected with Caritas Laudato Si. It wasn't so difficult because I engaged young people, and I have support from adults in my social community. And for me, it's a surprise that because on Echo we must rent a local and pay all the bills. So we have a very big support from our local community, which are who take us some money to on Echo could work. Yeah, we survived on Echo survived COVID because we just put things on Facebook site. Things that we get on Echo, we just take them photo and go to Facebook, and then we could share the things with another people. So you don't need to have a local, have like place physically. You can also create a group on Facebook, for example, and then share the things that you don't use anymore. And I have last question for Adrian and Sarah. How do you think an effective communication campaign on these issues can contribute to raise awareness of the power for change, that every person can exercise to put into practice the teachings of the Church and particular of Laudato Si?
I think, well, in the case of what we did, we had this circumstance where we did this camp 2 consecutive years, and the first year we had financial support from our local government. So Laudato Si was actually not mentioned explicitly most of the time, but I still think it was at the center of the whole experience, and I think the part about taking care of nature and the earth and doing the work of the farm, actually it's a way of putting in practice one of the core messages, at least for me, of the Laudato Si, that is that we have to coexist with nature and we have to take care of nature. I think an effective communication can give us tools to actually put in practice in many ways that we may not think at first.
Thank you, Sarah. Could you add something?
Yeah, maybe I already mentioned the land grabbing report that we did, and so it was kind of really put in words and on paper, a real experience, and so this was really kind of effective narration, I would say. But also just to maybe this documentary which collected all these stories of change and of, as I said, putting into practice the values and the teachings of Laudato Si was really, I think it's a good mean of communication to develop change.
Okay, thank you. I just wanted to add that I think that we should really show people how we act, because when young people, even like young people, see that there is somewhere in the world someone take part in some of projects like yours, then it will be easier to act in their local communities. So we must share videos like this, documentary like this, and I think that it would be more and more of projects to help our planet. Do we have more questions? No. You have
just 30 seconds closing, but
okay.
Just on the documentary, like a very concrete impact. Like there is another story coming from Kenya, where a community created a Laudato Si park, And thanks to the documentary, which was very nice, that this community got also a lot of requests on how did they do like to create this Laudato Si Park, and people in other part of the world really wanted to replicate and to create. So this showing that alternatives are possible, are accessible and replicable. I think it's also one of the power of this. I was at COP26 in Glasgow last year, and it was a conference with the Italian Minister of Ecological Transition, who was saying young people, instead of going out and strike and protest, they should, pass from the protest like to concrete facts. And I couldn't intervene, unfortunately, but I wanted to tell him, people are already doing something at the local scale with this big and global perspective. It's not because the media is not covering them, that they are not existing. Because I think this documentary, but also thousands of other, initiatives are there for showing that another world is possible and is already happening, So that's my conclusion on this.
Okay, and I just wanted to add to my project that in this video you see that not only young people helping on ECHO, but also adults and kids. So it's for everyone, yes. So this project is for everyone, and I hope that it will be more of places like this. For the end, Pope Francis says that we must change our habits and lifestyle to take care of our planet. With hope and a little patience from youth to adults and backwards, I think we can make a difference. We must remember that the most important thing is to act even when something doesn't work. It doesn't mean that we must give up. Today's examples shows us that we can make a difference by using our skills, interests, and possibilities. We don't need to do big things, only little step-by-step change, for example, the local society. Let's look into the future like young people with hope. Thank you, everyone, for listening. Have a nice day.